What's up, everybody? Time for another episode of Choir Practice. We are super excited to have a special guest up here from Florida. Yeah? Tell them all who you are.
I am Henry Morris, better known as Hollywood, and I started Support Our Shields, representing fallen officers all across the country.
What's so funny about that? Why are you laughing at the guy?
Gotta make sure you know he's Hollywood. There's Hollywood behind that.
That's all right. Allie was like, hey, what's this guy's name that we've got coming up? I'm like, yo, that's Hollywood. Oh, okay, that's Hollywood.
That's all it is.
Hey, real quick shout out. I want to start an episode by thanking the guys from Warrior 12. They're the ones who started Blue Lives Matter, so I want to make sure to continue to give them some props. A little shout out to two of my favorite Christmas gifts ever right now. Up on the rooftop, click, click, click. Off went the safety for old St. Nick. If you've got a buddy who is in law enforcement or a patriot and you don't know what to get them for Christmas, I mean, Nakatomi Plaza, come on. And then they actually sent a gift for you right here. Little thank you for coming out, man. So, all right, let's dive into it.
Let's do it.
What brings you up here? Tell everybody your backstory, man, because it's super cool.
Yes. So I am a product of a kid coming from a broken home, two functioning alcoholic parents where domestic violence was the order of the day almost every weekend, if not every other weekend. And I explain to people when I say we grew up in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, this was not the part that they show you on the tourist videos to get people to come to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. This looked more like New Jack City. Yeah, so you had a lot of Nino Browns running around. And so when the crack epidemic hit, we literally couldn't go in any direction, north, south, or east to get to the school bus stop because there was a crack house everywhere you turn. And so for me, law enforcement officers were real life heroes, for coming in the neighborhood, running the drug dealers out, where there's drugs, prostitutes follow, running that out. And I was like, wow, I didn't know until almost adulthood, it wasn't normal for people to be walking the street at 3 o'clock in the morning aimlessly. And programs like DARE, Just Say No initiative, I couldn't explain to people how cool I thought it was as a third grader to see police officers in your school rapping about staying off drugs. And when I got into high school, my defensive coordinator was law enforcement officer Danny Iosia. Really kept his hand on me, like, you don't have to go the direction. A lot of your parents have gone. Too many of your family members have gone. School resource officers stepped in overtime. Ira Rubenstein, Vinny Panetta, these are guys who didn't look like me that literally took time way beyond their call to make sure I was okay. I was the kid, like I said, always doing movies that was going to be my escape out of poverty. Cops would come be extras. They arrest me on camera for a scene. So they just poured so much into, my life as a teenager and a young man that a couple of years ago when the whole defund the police, and I said it was deeper than that because it was also dehumanize and demoralize police officers. So from my vantage point, traveling the country predominantly with nonprofits and religious organizations, seeing literally one city after another, the falling apart that was happening, and police officers being literally blamed for everything that is wrong in various communities, I could not sit back and be quiet anymore. And I was so convicted by it, especially when David Dorn was literally executed on Facebook Live. I just lost it and broke down and said, I've got to do something. So I started out in my local small town called Fruitland Park in Central Florida, had a plaque made and called the chief and said, can I come up and talk with you and tell you how important, your calling, because it's more than a job, has been to me in my life. He doesn't know who I am. And he said, you've blessed us so much. You ever thought about going, to the next town? So I went to the next town in another state. Here I am 2.5 years later. I've been to 25 states across the country. And this year the focus was on fallen officers because we've lost, as of this recording, 103 officers and as young as 19 this year alone.
Who's funding all this? You're traveling all over the country. You're making these plaques. Who's funding this?
My retirement. that is shrinking every day. Sadly, when I started to speak out about this, got out to a lot of clients that I had, and in church organizations, they weren't interested because this didn't fit a particular narrative that they wanted to promote. And so I was like, you know what, I'll do it on my own. I keep taking other gigs to literally take the money from that and fund to go. Every week it's a routine. I look up on the Officer Down website, find where that officer that we lost, reach out to that law enforcement agency and make plans, to reach out to them or their immediate families.
I'm going to do a shameless plug here right now. All right. The dude is legitimately funding this out of his retirement from him and his wife. I mean, I found out after that, this was the case and that he was basically staying like a crack house up here in Connecticut, like a Motel 2.4. So guys, I mean, go throw the dude some coin. Every single penny is going into this amazing organization, and you are the organization. You are the face of it. There's no crazy overhead, nothing like that. You're going out, you're supporting these families, you're praying and crying with the officers and the agencies, and I think it's just absolutely incredible. There is one thing I want to touch on. You shared with Bernie and I last night at dinner a story about how the police had to come to your home when your parents were in a situation.
Yes.
And they shared with you a pretty impactful message about what your parents are and aren't. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, it was so amazing for me because I'm literally, it's amazing. Because when I think back, this is literally 38 years almost to the day. This was going to be my brother and I's birthday, and my dad. They had been drinking all day because this is what they do. And on the way to taking my mom, she worked the graveyard shift. They got into it on the highway on I-95, so he pushed her out of a moving car. We get awakened at 3 o'clock in the morning. There's cops all throughout the duplex. You're getting shuffled out of the back door, and you see guns drawn on your dad, and you're wondering, how is this going to play out in your 8-year-old mind? So to have one of those officers come outside, pull us to the side and say, look, kid, I don't know everything that's going on, but your parents aren't evil people. They just have a lot of problems. So fast forward nearly 40 years later, and I feel like I'm paying it back when I reach out to any of these families, because that hit me and it never left.
Love it. Well, and it reminds me a lot about the work that you do with Blue Angels, right? Yeah. Going out there, being with these kids who might not have otherwise had great experiences with law enforcement in the past, and bridging that gap and showing the humanization of officers.
No, I appreciate it. But, having to spend time with you today, and I want to just kind of hit on today. So we went to Hartford PD and presented a special plaque that he brings with him to Chief Thody and the command staff of Hartford PD. And your compassion is amazing, and your energy and your love for law enforcement. You speak for the masses because most people do support police, and it was very heartfelt what you said. Very true, very pure, very raw, and I was, very honored to be a part of that event with you and be there, sitting there in the gallery, there filming and smiling and trying to keep you from making eye contact with me, right? But in all honesty, so many people support us. And what Kyle was saying this about please help out, I feel compelled to say the same thing. The majority of us out there in society support law enforcement. Okay, so what he does is he takes it one step further. When we lose those officers, he's compelled to, on his own, come here. If he's representing the majority of us, then we need to help him be able to do this. And it's going to be my personal commitment to make this one of my goals, is to help figure out a platform that we can get going for you so you can continue to do this. Because after I saw what you did today, that is something that every department that is in a process of healing needs. Because we forget that our communities support us because we are in our own internal support. And unfortunately, when these things happen, they tend to happen because someone from the community has done something to cause this death. And we have to understand that we still get up every day and serve and protect our communities no matter what's going on. So the importance of somebody coming back to give back, absolutely asking for nothing more than your time, is absolutely powerful. It's so amazing, and absolutely love what you do. And you have a lifetime of respect for me for what you do. Thank you so much.
Bernie, I got to be honest with you. That plug was way better than mine. Like, that was way better. I mean, I'm going with the guilt route of telling everyone he's staying in a crack house while, like, that was really impressive. And,
Well, it's just true.
But I agree 100%.
And then we went to, you know, I had to take him to my, you know, my
Yes.
home, so we went to
Yes, I saw his
Manchester,
victims.
met with Chief Darby, and you know, here's Chief Darby, typical guy on his day off. Yeah, I'll
in
meet
the
him.
office.
Met him, took him around the building, and just got him to get a feel for, you know, the good men and women of law enforcement. We stopped in as many offices. We went in and saw our dispatchers. I loved
Yeah,
them, and
yeah.
you know, it was nice for
That was
me, but it
awesome.
was also nice for me to introduce someone that I feel so powerful about to people that I feel strongly about.
How can people support you?
SupportOurShields.com. You know, it's the website. They can follow, you know, all the tour stops. I call it, you know, sadly, I wish, guys, that there was not a need to go to another plaque presentation for the rest of my life, but we know that that's not the reality. Since we've been together, we've lost 3 officers, you know, basically in the last 3 days. So SupportOurShields.com is definitely where you go, or at SupportOurShields on social media. And to piggyback off of what you shared, Bernie, that is the fuel for me. Literally a month ago, I did 10 presentations in 5 days in 7 states. I'm driving by car 1,700 miles, but every place you stop, and these are places you can't find on a map: Cordell, Georgia, Easley, South Carolina.
That's my dad's hometown.
You see?
That's crazy.
Really
But
is.
you go there and meet, just like you said, you meet these families whose lives have just been devastated this year in a community that are still trying to heal. Each time you hug a widow or a kid, it's more fuel to go out and you know, and keep pushing for the next one.
Totally, man. Before we go,
Before we go, last month was Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We got a patch from Hartford today. I want to celebrate the fact that my sister, who is a breast cancer survivor, she's now 6 years, doing good. My friend Michelle, we went through it with her last year. She's doing great. Unfortunately, one of my friends, Linda, was just diagnosed and she's starting the fight. Linda, I'm telling you right now, we are fighting with you always, with love and prayers. We'll get through this like I got through it with my sister, like I got through it with my friend Michelle. We're going to continue to kick cancer's ass. Love you.
awesome. Guys, thank you all for watching. Thanks for hitting that share button. Thank you for supporting this amazing organization. Thanks for throwing up some prayers for his family, for all those who serve and protect our communities and our country. God bless you all. God bless America.
Love you, Mom.